Who here likes to write unit tests? Please raise your hands. Okay. Not so. Okay, I expected less. Okay. Now, hands up if you don't like writing unit tests. Okay, it seems that we have a pretty safe space here for people who prefer debugging production instead of writing tests. But seriously, I personally really like it because it's like, it's like reverse engineering of your brain. You stand outside of your code, throw things at it, and hope it doesn't scream back at you. But usually it does. So why have I decided that Test Runner is a good topic for this talk? Because I recently migrated a few of my autocoding repositories to it. Plus, I'm really a big fan of core Node.js APIs. So if you heard about Test Runner and have questions like what can it actually do, what can't it do, can we drop our external testing tools and go fully native, then this talk might be interesting for you and help you to decide whether you need it or not. So let's figure out together. But first of all, let me properly introduce myself. As I already mentioned, my name is Maxim Shylau. I'm senior software engineer in EPAM. I have more than 5 years of experience with Node.js, experience hands-on, of course, plus I work with it using AWS. And I participate in various activities of free online learning courses school, RS School. Since 2020, I am Node.js course coordinator there. Plus, I'm one of the core developers of RS App. Okay, so today we will talk about the following. First, why Test Runner was introduced. Then my real-world use case, where I applied it. Then I will show some examples what it can do. Then we will compare it with known external testing tools like Jest and Mocha. Then I'll show you a small demo with performance test. Once again, it's not proper performance test, but it can give you some thoughts about the numbers. And finally, conclusion. Okay, let's go to first topic. Why do we need Test Runner? First reason, it really makes your testing easier without additional setup. You can just write tests and run them. Very simple. Second, as you know, less dependencies mean less problems. Because tools like Jest or any other big testing tools, they often install many packages. If one of them breaks or has security issues, you can affect your project in very negative way. Third, well, it aligns Node.js with other platforms where testing tool included in core API, like Python, Go, Dino, Ban. One more reason is more control and less surprises, because some tools create their own environment that differs from pure Node.js. For example, there is known case with Jest, it mutates instance of behavior and objects have wrong prototypes. So with Test Runner, you run tests in pure Node.js, so it's guaranteed that environment will be exactly the same as your code is running. Plus, many people in community asked for this, so Node team has made it. Okay, this is not just a theoretical thing. Let's talk about real use case where I actually used native Test Runner. Use case is related to learning management system called RS App. I already mentioned it. It's developed as part of RS School. And among many other features, RS App includes a tool for checking JavaScript autocode assignments. Maybe you solved this yourself on some platforms like CodeWars, LeetCode, etc. Ours is a bit different, but still we use it for some purposes. So idea here is that students use provided repository template to write solution in their GitHub repositories. They write it inside empty function stubs, and then RSApp runs unit test to validate the result. Every time student submits solution, RSApp runs Lambda that installs dependencies, then executes unit tests against student code and returns the result. How many tests are passed, failed, errors, linter errors, and so on. So I prepared a diagram for you. Let me use my laser pointer. Okay. you can see this diagram with solution, it works as following. So in RSApp, hundreds or even thousands of students submit their assignment through RSApp UI. Then RSApp backend proxies this request to RSApp cloud part, which is built on AWS. Then requests go through API gateway to handler. Then it's sent to SQSQ. It's not very important. SQSQ is added for decoupling purposes, of course. And next, messages from queue are processed by task runner handler. It's Docker function, and it does the following. It clones student solution repository, as well as reference repository for the task. Then it replaces empty functions in reference repository with student implementation. Then it installs dependencies, and they can be different from task to task. We don't really limit task owners in what they should use. The only requirement is that it shouldn't require too much resources, okay? Then it installs dependencies, then it runs tests, and then results are parsed and saved to database. So what challenges this solution has? In Lambda, we have some clear limits. I'm pretty sure you know. It's memory and execution time, and resources, other compute resources associated with memory as well. And cold starts also matter because when Lambda runs, it should start fast and it should run fast. And Jest adds extra time for installation. Same is for Mocha and Chai. So Node.js runner has some benefits here because first, it's already part of Node.js runtime, so no npm install, no extra setup, just minimal configuration. Second, it's really fast. In our case, tests are like maybe 4 times faster in comparison with Jest. And when you run thousands of tests per day, that saving is huge because less computes also means lower cost. Plus, it's easier to maintain because you don't need to worry about keeping your dependencies up to date, configuring some stuff for Jest. You can just use Node and get improvements automatically with Node.js updates. So in this Lambda use case, test runner gives us really faster Lambda execution, smaller code size, and lower costs. This was exactly what we needed. Okay, let's take a look at using test runner with some API examples. First one demonstrates how assertion testing works in test runner. Okay, my laser pointer is still here. Good to know. Test runner uses standard Node assert module for assertions. It's widely used under the hood inside of Node.js, but you could probably see it somewhere else. There are no chainable matchers or built-in sugar like in Jest. It's a bit more verbose. If error is not thrown here inside the body of the function, then test is passed. Simple as this, at least for synchronous tests. If default matchers are not enough, and I'm pretty sure after Jest it wouldn't be enough for you, you can use assert register API to define your own custom matchers. There are also test modifiers available, skip, todo, and only. I believe they are very familiar to you. It's good to know that Node.js also has it. Test skip allows you to temporarily disable a test. Its code is not executed and it's counted as skipped in test run summary. Test to do is similar to skip. This is something different. It actually executes code of the test, but test counted as to do in summary. When do you need it? You may need it when you have some maybe placeholder for test. Maybe you need to mark flaky test as to do, so you will need to fix it later. But you have a separated API for this. Test only allows you to run only certain tests, but to make it work, you should run Node with test only flag. Otherwise, Node will ignore it. It's not very convenient from my point of view. Also, something that differs from Jest, test runner also allows you to create subtests. They can be nested as deeply as you need. In earlier versions of Node, you had to explicitly await each subtest to avoid cancellation of parent test. But in Node version 24, latest version, that's no longer necessary. The output is hierarchical. You can see it here. And it clearly shows us the structure of the tests. So parent test, level 1 nested test, level 2, and level 3 test at the bottom. And also, test runner supports standard lifecycle hooks that are familiar to you if you used Jest or Mocha before each, after each, after. The name says for itself, so I will not spend much time on explaining what they do. but these hooks just as always great for setup and teardown logic. So you can connect to database in before. If it's not a unit test, maybe you can run some integration test. Clean connection in after, you can reset state before or after each test. In the example, we have just one test, which prints some stuff to console, so you can see that output really follows the order. So we have before each, test, after each, and after. And let's summarize mocking APIs available in TestRunner, because it's what really differs it from Jest, and where one of the biggest weaknesses is hidden. Mock function is used to create mock functions. You can just, as in Jest, you can inspect arguments, returned value, call counts, thrown errors, even this context, and more. Mock method allows you to replace object method with mock version. It's great for spying or stubbing behavior for object methods. Mock getter and mock setter, they are syntactic sugar for mocking property accessors. So if you have some objects with dynamic get or set methods, you can use this API. And mock module, most important one from my point of view, it's still in early development. It allows mocking entire modules, including CommonJS, Yes modules, or even JSON modules, but only in Node version 24+. It requires flag to run, and we have to use await import instead of static import, because, Yes modules, immutability, all these things. Mock timers allows you to control time inside tests. You can simulate timers, set timeout, set immediate, etc., advance time manually, or trigger all timers instantly. This is essential for testing time-based logic without actually waiting. Let's take a look at some example, very short one. This example shows you how mock function works. So you create mock function. Optionally, you can provide it with implementation. We used a multiply function here, which works as double. You can replace it with another implementation for a specified amount of times. So we made it triple for 2 calls. Then you can use it, and you can check various stuff about it. How many times it was called, with what arguments, and so on. So it's not just a stub, it's also a spine. Here we use class method using mock method API. So we have, okay, size should be just fine. Is it enough for you, or I can make it bigger? Okay, good. So we want to test get data from API method, which uses fetch data under the hood. So we mock fetch data on the class prototype level. You can do the same in Jest. And then we can check that get data from API actually returned mock data and called fetch data inside. Mocking module. Here's an example of mocking entire module using mock module API. We want to test function that reads file. It uses Node read file API from Node FS promises. So we mock this whole module and replace read file with mock function. And importantly, then we use dynamic import for tested function after we set mock because of import's immutability. That's not very convenient because Jest allows us to do it with regular imports because of hoisting of Jest mock declarations. But still, this is how it works in Node.js, unfortunately. Maybe it will change later. Yes, keep in mind that mock module is still marked as experimental and requires flag to work. And finally, mocking timers, pretty simple example. We mock set timeout API, then we schedule callback after 5 seconds, verify it's not executed immediately, then we can advance timer by 5 seconds, and now callback is executed. It also works with set interval, set immediate, and even date. Okay, so I spent some time using Jest, Node TestRunner, and Mocha. Let's discuss their differences and similarities. First, about API and syntax. Node's API is very simple. Assertions use assert from Node core. Basic checks like strict equal included. Not many built-in matches. Basic API is included as well. Jest has rich API. It uses expect with many matches. A lot of stuff work out of the box. More syntax sugar. It's more convenient. And Mocha doesn't include assertions. You need to use chai or something else. In general, in all 3 tools, structure feels easy to understand and familiar. Regarding mocking, TestRunner has built-in mocking. You can mock function, methods, timers, even mock full modules. I mean their exports. But it's not major because Mocha and ECMAScript models requires dynamic import. It's still in early development, so it's not suitable for production, which is bigger weakness of test runner, in my opinion. Jest is much stronger here. It mocks modules easily, plus has more rich API for mocking. Mocha doesn't have built-in mocking. People usually use libraries like Sign-on for this. It works, but you need extra dependencies and somehow more manual setup. What about execution model, where our tests are actually executed? So Node runs each file in separated process by default. I mean, Node process. This makes big test amount run much faster. If needed, we can turn off isolation and run all tests in one process, but it won't be very performant on big amount of tests. Jest also runs tests in parallel using workers, but starting many workers adds some overhead on Jest level. Plus, maybe you face such issue when it surprisingly works better when you have like amount of workers 15%. It's kind of weird. But also has parallelization as well. Mocha has parallel mode since version 8.2, but by default tests run in single process, plus we have some limitations associated with this. About environment. Node test runner runs in real Node environment, as I already mentioned. There is unfortunately, no window, no document, no other browser stuff. Only what Nodes gives you. If you need to test front-end logic, like maybe some DOM manipulations, you must add JSDOM manually and connect it. Jest adds JSDOM by default. That's why it's more popular for front-end tests. So document, window, and other front-end friends are available out of the box. But this comes with a cost, because more setup usually means more overhead. And Mocha also runs in Node by default. It doesn't have JSDOM either, but you can attach it manually. Same as with Test Runner. In addition to objective comparison, I'd also like to briefly share what I personally find important when using Test Runner based on my personal experience with it. First of all, it's really boilerplate heavy. It has more boilerplate. You must import test, describe, mock, assert, everything you need every time. Jest provides this as globals, and it's really more convenient. Module mocking. From my point of view, it's still hard, especially if you want to mock ECMAScript model. You need to use dynamic imports, and if you need to change mocking of the module you need to mock it more than once, it's very hard to do. About only tests, it's weird for me that you must use test-only flag because it's not obvious and a bit annoying during local development. You can also use test isolation none and run test in single process, but it makes tests slower and less safe. About global setup. Yeah, that's what we like about Jest. It has a global setup, global teardown. Now it exists since latest version of Node.js, but still in early development, unfortunately. Before that, people used workarounds like custom import files as a CLI option. Also, Node.js has watch mode. It works, but it's very basic. So it only runs when you change the code. So no fancy stuff like in Jest. You can filter by test name or rerun only failed ones. And if we are talking about debugging, output is clean, but error messages are simpler than Jest. It's closer to JavaScript itself, and sometimes it has very big error stack traces, which don't help much. Debugging might be a bit harder. Okay, let's finally move to small live demo. Now I will run same test cases using Jest, Mocha, and Node's built test runner just to compare execution time. The goal of this exercise, of course, is not to get scientific precision because performance measurements should be done a very different way, but you will have an idea of how much overhead each tool can introduce. Spoiler, not usually fastest, but let's see. Here we have our tested function, get square root sum. It takes number n and returns the sum of square roots from 0 to n. So it's just a basic function that does some calculations and we want to test it. Then we will test it using the same 3 test cases. Let's open just test case, for example. Okay. So we calculate sum of square roots up to 10, up to 100, and up to 1000. We do it using Jest. We do it using Mocha plus Chai. And we will do it using Node.js built-in test runner. So how will we try to measure performance? We have this fancy run test.js file. What happens here? We get some values from command line arguments. So which script we want to run, what we want to do with input-output processes. And we will run, we will spawn child process for each test run. We will do it 20 times. And then we will calculate average time of execution. I haven't used npm scripts here because, npm makes run slower and adds some overhead because Node and Mocha has here about 200 milliseconds and they are almost the same, but it's not true, and we will see it here. Okay, so let's probably run our first command. Let me run it. Not run test. Then we will start from Jest. And I will not disable std.io, just you can see that tests are passed. So we do not hide some errors under the hood. Okay, test Jest. And let's try to run it. You can see that it's run 20 times. And average time is about 300 milliseconds per one run. Why I use spawn of child process? Because this is how we do it in REST app. So this is a very close simulation to how it's run inside of the Lambda. So we can run it once again, just in case. Maybe numbers are wrong, but I think they will be pretty same. Okay, 280, but still. Let's switch to Mocha. It should be much faster. Okay, you can see that visually it doesn't really change the picture. Average time is about 100 milliseconds. Let's run it once again. And yeah, it still remains the same. And then let's try to run it using Node.js test runner. Test Node. You can see it even runs faster visually. Okay, and average time is about 80 milliseconds. So it's 20% faster than Mocha. Is it really time to say goodbye to Jest? Test runner is a good fit for you if performance matters, like in CI pipelines or AWS Lambda, where every second counts. Here, Node test runner is a great choice. Second, if you want less things to install or worry about, like test frameworks, their updates, configurations, security. This is especially useful if you build npm library where less is actually more because of the size and execution time. Third, you have simple testing needs, so you mostly write unit tests for backend logic. You don't need a browser environment or complex mocking. Your project is not browser heavy. And it's also good for new Node projects. If you are starting a fresh project or not, it helps to keep things clean. You can always add extra tools later if you will need it. On the opposite, there are cases when test runner is not the best choice. First of all, if you need advanced features like complex mocking or lots of built-in tools, Jest gives you all of that out of the box. With Node, you would need to build some things yourself. And you may be not ready for this. If your team already uses Jest or Mocha and everything works fine, switching to test runner might be just not worth efforts for migration. If you test front-end code, as I already mentioned, maybe React, Vue, Angular, Jest is usually better because it gives you a fake browser with JSDOM and big ecosystem around it. Test runner doesn't support that directly. And if you need to reach plugin ecosystem, bigger community, Jest has really tons of plugins, reporters, IDE integrations. Mocha also has many, but test runner is simply newer, so plugin area is still small. In short, test runner is fast and simple, but Jest and Mocha are still better for some complex or browser-heavy projects. Just use right tools that fits your needs. So let's wrap up. Test runner is no longer a toy. It works well, it's stable, it's fast, and you don't need to install anything. For a backend project or simple tests, it might be all you need. And Jest still makes sense where you need complex mocking, rich ecosystem, or test frontend. Mocha is fine too if you like to pick your tools. In the future, I think we will likely see more new projects that use Node Test Runner from the start. All projects with lots of Jest may not switch, and it's also totally fine. And you don't have to pick one tool forever. You can use bots if it helps you. What really matters, well, it's not goodbye Jest yet, but now you at least have a choice, which is great, I think. So that's all from me. Thank you for your attention. I'm happy to answer your questions if you have some.